Hello everybody, I'm Peiser, and here are 3 things I wish I knew when I was 20. So thing number 1 is to lower my pride. To lower my pride. Now looking back at my 20s, I see myself, I was so cocky sometimes. And it's okay, but I wish I knew then to be more humble, like to be more relaxed, more empathic, to lower my pride. And the story that comes to mind is, as a musician, I got one day an invitation to do a gig in Independence Day. Independence Day here in Israel, so it's like the holiday for the musicians, right? We got many gigs and they pay good salary usually, so it's a good day to be a musician at. And a friend invited me for this gig. It was a few weeks before the Independence Day, and we said, yeah, I'm going to do it together, and let's rehearse, and let's do it, and so on. And then, a few days before Independence Day, I got an invitation for another gig. And that second gig actually paid a little better. Not much better, but a little better. So of course, what I did, I told my friend, I'm sorry, it's a free market and so on, this kind of speech. It wasn't even an economic thing. It was even just to feel worthy that like they pay me a little more and I deserve it. So fuck this good friend of mine that I don't care. I care only about the money. And I took the other gig. And actually my friend got really hurt. And it was like something that happened between us. And then the lesson comes that actually what happened is that other gig that I took and cancelled the gig with my friend, so that other gig that paid a little better, cancelled. Sorry. So I didn't have any gig at all for Independence Day. And that's a classic example, I think, from my 20s for being really proud. And I wish I knew then to lower my pride and to be more humble in a way, just to say thank you when things arrive and to understand the value of friendship and relationships, that it's much more than the money or the gig or whatever. So that's thing number 1. Thing number 2, I wish I knew in my 20s, is to practice meditation. So for me, meditation comes to mind. I knew about it probably when I was younger, but only in my 20s, in my late 20s actually, I started to practice meditation and to really go deep into it. But the first time I learned about it is from the book of Yuval Noah Harari that called Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind. Maybe you've heard about it. It was very popular like 10 or 15 years ago. Probably some of you read it. So actually, that book is not about meditation at all, but it's got this atmosphere of meditation. And he actually, today I know he also practiced meditation, the writer, the author, Yuval. And he speaks about it in that book, about the idea that our words are only ideas, that they are just like words floating in space and we give them meaning. And that was a new idea for me at that time that really changed something in my understanding of reality. I said, yeah, right. Like reality is only made out of words that we give meaning to. And at that point, I remember reading that book and lying in bed, and then something interesting happened, that I started noticing that I'm thinking words. I started noticing like the words that floating in my mind. And I really remember it was like a usual moment, just lying in bed, but that was a kind of a realization happened in that moment. And that realization that, wow, that words floating in my mind, that's exactly what they speak about it in that book. That words that I give so much meaning to, and they are actually shaping my reality, shaping my life, how I call things, how I define things. And that's what actually led me to start and practice meditation. I start researching, reading more books, and meeting the teachers and so on. And practicing meditation is a life-changing habit. There is no going back from that when you understand it and start experiencing and start developing. So that's another thing I wish I knew in my 20s, in my early 20s, to start practice meditation. And thing number 3 I wish I knew when I was 20 is to market and to sell. That would save me so much heartache if I only knew a little bit about marketing and selling in my 20s. Because in my 20s I had many great, even looking today, musical ideas, musical projects, teaching projects as a music teacher. But a lot of the time what happened is I just didn't have any clue about marketing and selling. And the one really tough example I can remember is launching my band album. We had a band that we played together for years. We performed in Tel Aviv music scene, and we recorded an album. We actually worked really hard on it for about a year. We worked on it, and we waited for the big day to celebrate it, to launch it. And we actually made a nice gig in a nice venue, and people come, but then nothing happened. And it was supposed to be like our breakthrough, you know, our like jump start for a new achievements, and actually today I understand it's not about the music, it's not about the performance. It's just that we didn't have any kind of a marketing strategy at all. We just say, yeah, we're going to play it and to put it out there, and people will just love it. They will listen to it, and they will come to the concert, and it will just happen like this, by magic. Well, that was very naive of me to think in this way in my early mid-20s, but I didn't had any clue at that time. And I wish I knew that music and creating any kind of project, it's not only about creating the project. It's also about marketing it and taking the time and the energy to make sure that it will get to the people. That's what marketing is about. So today I want to show you I have here this book that is like a little bit like my Bible. It's Sales Power. It speaks about it. And it's like here to remind me that it's really about it most of the time. Well, in my 20s, just to sum up this point of marketing and selling, I also had a lot of resistance for this kind of profession, or this area of marketing and selling, of course, because I had a lot of resistance to the monetary system, to the financial system, and to society in general, you know, very rebellious at that time. So I understand also why I rejected the marketing and selling and didn't even want to hear about it. But of course, years passed and you're growing up and you understand. So, guys, that was my 3 lessons that I wish I knew, 3 things I wish I knew when I was in my 20s. Thing number 1 is to lower my pride, to accept, to say thank you for things that come, to be more humble, I would say. Thing number 2 is to practice meditation, to notice things that comes in my mind, to notice my thoughts. And things number 3 is to market and to sell myself, my services, my music, things that I do in general. Thank you all for listening. If you loved this video, please subscribe or comment. And I would love to hear if one of those things resonates with you. And we'll see you soon. Bye bye.